Are you ready to see the oh so lovely woman of The View get completely triggered at the reality of Joe Biden's disastrous re-election campaign and his slipping polls? Guys, this is a fun one. I don't know about you, but I always love seeing these ladies on The View get mad because they're just frankly insufferable people and just very annoying. So it's kind of funny seeing them get triggered. I enjoyed the clip. I think you will too. And we're going to get right into it. But first, everybody, please make sure you like our video, share it around, and subscribe to the Resist the Mainstream YouTube channel. As always, I'm your host, Darian, and let's cowabunga.
So, the New York Times is citing polls that show how many voters aren't happy with how President Biden's handling issues from inflation to the Israel-Hamas war, and CNN's Fareed Zakaria claims that it's time for his team to take notice. Take a look.
I understand that polls are not always accurate, but in general, they have tended to underestimate Donald Trump's support, not overestimate it. Trend lines are not working in Biden's favor. He needs to do something bold and dramatic and reverse these numbers. The one that troubles me the most is on the question of who was the more competent. Joe Biden led Donald Trump by 9 points in 2020, but Trump now leads by 16 points in January 2024. That 25-point shift could be a reflection of people's sense that the president's age is affecting his capacity to govern. And there's very little that Joe Biden can do now to change that perception.
Well, what's the point of having a conversation if you're saying it's a done deal? You know, you can't do that. It is not a done deal until the people of the United States vote. That's when it's a done deal. But, you know, we have this conversation, twice a week? Yes. So you know the question. What do you think?
So I've got to say, I agreed with a lot of Fareed Zakaria's take, and I want to underscore, I want Trump to lose. So it's important to me 6 months out with this platform that we have to talk about some very real trends and signs that Donald Trump may be far stronger than we think he is. It may be hard for us to wrap our heads around. I personally, someone who's testified against him, has talked about how unfit. It's hard to believe that he still has as much support as he does. One thing he talked about was the economy. And I was trying to make sense of this because obviously he left office in 2020. The economy was in free fall, massive unemployment. But what I think it is I think a lot of voters attribute the pre-pandemic economy to Donald Trump. They don't blame him for the global phenomena that was the pandemic. Joe Biden has objectively achieved a lot on the economy. He did the infrastructure package as well. He has things to brag about. But my problem is this. You did an interview with Aaron Burnett, and he said, actually, you're better off than you think you are. That's a bad message. When people's grocery prices are up by 30%, you're saying, believe me, rather than what your bank account is telling you. He's got 6 months to come up with an inspiring, forward-looking message and get...
Hold up. So Biden's done objectively good on the economy, but then she surprisingly acknowledges that inflation is completely skyrocketing and out of control. Which is it, Alyssa Farah Griffin? These people are such a joke.
Out there and talk about it. And for us, I think it's important. I engage Trump voters, and I don't do it to make them feel shamed or to attack them for where they are, but to talk about what a second term could look like and how dangerous it is. I think that's how we need to be using our voices. And the campaign, the Biden campaign just has to get more active.
Yeah. Well, I would say when you say the Biden campaign has to get more active, I actually blame the media slightly. We talked last week a lot about how I don't think people are able to watch this Trump trial 24/7. Like all the time. Like it's a still shot, it's a picture of a door, it's all of this stuff. Now, we're talking about we're in a campaign. We should be hearing more. We always say, why don't we hear from the Biden administration? I don't leave that all on the Biden administration's door. The media needs to cover things. For example, abortion is a winning issue for Democrats, women's reproductive health. Vice President Harris did an event last week. I couldn't find any coverage on it. And that's a Democrat's winning stance.
So the translation to the first part of what she said is the media needs to do our bidding and cover Biden in a positive light and maybe stop obsessing over Trump a little bit. That way we can win. So glad she made that clear. As for the whole reproductive health, what a dumb and Orwellian term that is. Reproductive health. Their whole shtick is that they want to terminate reproduction. It's not reproductive health. You're ending it. Also, let's not forget that Democrats literally support abortion up until the day of birth. They are the most extreme radicals on the issue. You're not going to find anyone else who's more radical, extreme, and frankly depraved than that. So this whole idea, oh yeah, abortion's a popular issue, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I guess it's true that many Americans support abortion, which is very sad and unfortunate, but most of them don't support it up until the day of birth, which is literally on the Democrat Party platform. If you don't believe me, just look it up.
That's a Democrat's winning stance. I also think that there was an asylum regulation decided on with the border. Everyone has agreed the border's a problem. Didn't see any coverage on that because we're busy watching the Donald Trump door not opening.
And don't forget Nikki Haley. Her win. Didn't she win? Didn't she?
Oh, yeah, she
up a whole
got
lot
like
of-
150,000.
Yeah. But I mean, then also you've
Nobody
got
heard
like
it.
last week, our incumbent president stepped in to do a speech on anti-Semitism. They cut to the speech, came back and talked about Donald Trump. So what's happening here is Donald Trump is Donald Trumping us. It's deja vu from 2016, and the coverage. The irony is the people covering that news thinks they're getting one up on Donald Trump while they're handing him a lot of votes because of the coverage. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I've been saying, I agree with you. I've been saying from the beginning, I actually think this trial is somewhat helping Donald Trump because it's keeping him off the trail and because we are not focusing on the stupid stuff he says on a daily basis. And that is helping him. On Biden, look, you know, at first it was people saying, we don't like our choices. What else? What third candidate? Well, no third candidate, no knight in shining armor appeared. Now I'm hearing people say, is there a way that in the convention they can change the candidate? That's not going to happen. I'm going to say it till I'm blue in the face. I'm going to say it till the day of election. This is a binary choice. This is a binary choice America has between good and evil, between decency and havoc, between indicted in 88 counts and not. I mean, you know, they're both old. If that's what's keeping you at night, you don't have a choice. They're both old, but only one is an alleged criminal indicted in 88 counts. If this is what you want for America. And I know there's a lot of young people who are frustrated. I was with two friends this weekend who are both Biden supporters, have kids who are 19, 20 years old and are telling me, oh, those kids, you know, are not going to vote. Well, if you don't vote because you're issuing a protest vote, you're going to wake up the day after Election Day with a lot of remorse if Donald Trump is the president for the next 4 years. And I'm going to, you know, and I know that people like me saying this to the kids doesn't work. We have to figure out a way to make it, and maybe you can talk about this. You've got kids that age. But there is not one group that these kids are protesting over that will be in a better place under Donald Trump. Whether it's climate, whether it's reproductive rights, whether it's Israel and Gaza, there is not one group that will be better under Donald Trump. All of us will be a lot worse off. So get off your butts and go vote.
Look, I
Get off your butts and go vote. There is not one group that won't be better. Okay, first of all, I mean, I can name a group that's better, assuming we're using that term. We'll just overlook her terrible English here, but here's a group that'll be better. The economy. Yes, believe it or not, Trump had a much better economy than Biden with his miserable and ridiculous inflation. Speaking of which, I have tried to prepare myself for this inflation and the future it's going to bring because it's just getting worse and worse every day. And because of that, I've partnered with Goldco, and I highly recommend you guys do the same. I'm invested in precious metals. It's a great gig. I think it's good for everyone. And believe it or not, you can actually roll over your IRA or 401k penalty-free into gold and other precious metals so you can have a hedge against inflation. Why should you do this, you may ask? Good question. For one thing, gold has historically increased in value as the dollar has gone up in price. This is a very important thing to consider. And what's awesome about Goldco is you can actually get in touch with Goldco by going to rtmgold.com, either type that in your web browser or click it in the description, and you can literally get a free kit that can help coach you on how to make these gold investments. So guys, I really recommend you check it out. Just go to rtmgold.com. All right, once again, that's rtmgold.com. Either type it in your browser or click it in the description.
I mean, I agree with sort of what everyone is saying. I'm concerned, like Alyssa is. You know, when you look at these stats, it's very clear that Biden is actually worse off now 6 months from the election than Obama was and when Bill Clinton was. They had disapproval ratings that were pretty high but his are even lower, right? So that concerns me. I also agree it's up to the American people. It's not up to the polls, and we are 6 months away. I actually do think that the criminal trial will matter because 71% of Americans have said if he is convicted, I care about it and he should go to jail. Something like 54% of Americans have said if he is convicted, I will not vote for him.
Well,
I think
announce
that's very
that.
important.
Don't cover it 24/7. Just let us know.
But I think that's important, and I think that's why people are paying attention to the trial. But to the Gen Zers, I think the worst thing we can do is tell that generation that they're dumb, that they're misinformed, that they don't know what they're doing, because I am raising 2 kids, and granted it's anecdotal, it's just my house because we talk about politics at home. They are very engaged, they know the issues, they research the issues, they source the issues, and they're going to vote. They are not going to vote for Trump. They are not going to vote for a twice indicted, 4 times indicted, twice impeached loser. They are not going to vote for him because they hear their mother saying it all the time. So I think a lot of this has to do with what's going on in the home, the discussions that people are having in the home, and they need to tell their kids, you have to vote. It's your choice, but these are the choices. These are the issues.
Sonia,
and I think those conversations are happening.
Joe Biden's I've never heard Joe Biden call the young people dumb and uninformed. Other people have.
Hillary Clinton just did that. She just did that. She spoke down to them. They don't know about this. They don't know about that.
Kidding.
That's a bad move when it comes to this generation, because when you're saying that these kids at Ivy League schools, the acceptance rate is like 4%. They've worked their entire lives. They're very smart. They're very educated. When you're saying they're dumb, they don't know what they're talking about, that's problematic. You don't talk down to this generation. You speak with this generation. And I think this generation could very well save our country.
In general.
But they are dumb, though. That's true. Is this a rare moment where I'm agreeing with Hillary Clinton? Is the sky falling down? I don't know. But this idea that a student is smart because they went to Harvard or Yale or whatever other fancy Ivy League institution, I always default back to my famous question. Take a Harvard grad and take a plumber and ask them one simple thing. How many genders or sexes are there? Get the response from both of those two, listen to their responses, nod your head, and then you tell me who the idiot is. I think it speaks for itself.
Also shouldn't shame people and how they vote. This is where I get back to, I try to have respect when I talk to Trump voters, as hard as it is with the frustrations I have, but knowing that people vote on a lot of issues and going to them non-judgmentally and talking about what a second term would look like, or with young people, also with the never Trumpers, don't shame them. They'll probably be with Biden, but talk about the stakes. I don't think shaming is a motivator to get people out.
I don't know if I agree. Maybe we should shame people who vote for the guy who says, yeah, Bill Wright, Mouse, and Corn Pop.
And Corn Pop was a bad dude. And he ran a bunch of bad boys. And and back in those days, to show how things have changed, one of the things you had to use, if you used pomade in your hair, you had to wear a bathing cap.
By the way, that was in 2019, literally before Biden was in office for 4 years. So yes, he's been senile for quite a while. Well, guys, that wraps up the video for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, please leave a comment below. Let us know what you liked, what you want to see next, and we'll see you guys again very soon. Thank you, and God bless.